Welcome to the Writer's Journey podcast. I'm Michael Laron, a science fiction and fantasy author on a journey to go from nobody to bestseller, and I'm documenting every step of the way. Tune in every week as I pull back the curtain on my writing life and how I'm building a writing career while working a full-time job, raising a family, and attending law school classes in the evenings. You can find show notes for this week's episode, a free starter library of my fiction, and much more at michaellaron.com. Enjoy the show. Hello and welcome to episode 41. In the final behind-the-scenes episode of the year, I wanted to talk about my most unusual series, Moderation Online, and the story behind it. Now, if you haven't heard me talk about my Moderation Online series, then here's the idea. A group of terrorist vegetables attempts to take down an empire of processed foods. Now, before you run away laughing, I promise I'm not crazy. Far from it. I like to tell the story of how I spent time in the hospital in 2012 due to an illness. Well, when I was in the hospital, I was on a heavy dose of morphine, and one of the side effects of morphine is hallucinations. It makes you incoherent, and you see things. I couldn't eat solid food, which made the problem even worse because I didn't have a full stomach, so the hallucinations were pretty intense. I remember being on my hospital bed one night wishing that I could eat, and seriously, I would have done anything for a cheeseburger. What happened next completely changed my life and made me into an artist. Now, I promise that everything you're about to hear actually happened, and that I'm not crazy, I'm not some crackpot, I'm not making this up. I was laying on my bed, and I heard someone whisper my name. Michael. I looked around, but I didn't see anyone. Then I heard my name again. Michael. Sitting in my room was a giant cheeseburger. He had arms and legs and greasy eyes. He had teeth, which were dripping with cheddar. He was 7 feet tall and probably 6 feet across, and he had a New York accent. "Hey, buddy, let's get out of here," he said. "Get out of here?" I asked. "Where are we going to go?" And I don't remember what happened after that. All I remember was the cheeseburger standing in my room grinning at me, trying to convince me to escape. Later that night... I can't tell that story without laughing. I know you guys probably think I'm crazy, but it's honestly the truth. That hallucination happened. And later that night, as I tried to sleep, I couldn't. And I kept dreaming about this huge city. And it was one of the biggest cities I had ever seen. And it was lit up with lights under a dusky sky. But the odd thing about the city was that the buildings were made of food. The skyscrapers were made from cereal boxes. Blimps shaped like TV dinners flew over the city with cryptic messages flowing across their TV screens. Something about that city scared me. It had a bad energy, like a place you don't want to visit, and I kept dreaming about it. It loomed on the horizon of my dreams, and I didn't know what to make of it. And after I got out of the hospital and recovered, I remembered those hallucinations, the cheeseburger and the scary city, and I decided to write a novel about them, which ended up being Food City, book 1 in my Moderation Online series. The series follows Kendall Barnes, a citizen of the near future, where obesity and heart disease are ravaging the world, to the point where doctors don't know what to do about it. A group of doctors gets together and devises a unique strategy, which is a virtual reality video game where humans interact with anthropomorphic vegetable characters and go on quests with them. By doing this, the humans, by playing the game, subconsciously learn that vegetables are good, and it prompts them and promotes them to eat better and improve their health. Kendall is an obese African-American man, and he is enrolled in this experimental game after having a heart attack for the first time. While he's being uploaded into the game, hackers inject malicious code into the game, corrupting it. That code is a civilization of processed foods who take the vegetables hostage and trap humans in their city of salt, sugar, and fat under the false illusion that processed foods are their friends and vegetables are evil. Vegetables live under this city as second-class citizens, starved of food and sunlight. Instead of an idyllic world with friendly vegetables, which was the intent of the game, Kendall ends up in New Eden, a dangerous city of processed foods, and he falls under their spell. The ruler of the city is a sparkling cloud of salt named Sodius, and Kendall pledges allegiance to Sodius and his race of processed foods in exchange for a life of partying, fun, and gambling. The book begins at a festival where Kendall and humans hunt vegetables and kill them for pure pleasure. A gang of vegetables orchestrates an attack that claims several lives, led by a mysterious stalk of broccoli named Brock. Brock is hell-bent on destroying the processed foods and restoring balance to the world. During the attack, Brock takes Kendall hostage, using him as collateral, and the two clash big time. Brock seems like a villain at first, but Kendall slowly learns the truth about the evil city and the processed food's true intentions, and he realizes that maybe the vegetables aren't the bad guys after all. Yes, I know, the story's out there, it's a little wild, but really, it's a statement about our dangerous relationship with food. It's also heavily inspired by the Final Fantasy series, anime, and comics. More so than most of my series, this one is a little wild. It's fast-paced, fun, and unforgettable. Now, I will admit that I have a tough job marketing this series, as you can probably tell. The premise scares most people off. They run away screaming, usually. But when those who stick around, the people that stick around actually read it, they actually enjoy it because it's so different and fun. And I didn't help myself with the first round of book covers either. They weren't good, and that was my fault. You know, I take responsibility for that, for not giving my designer better clarity, because the designer was amazing. The first covers had Brock on the cover, and he's a stalk of broccoli in a leather jacket, a gold earring, and red chucks, and it just looks really cool, like the design. Like, I felt like he nailed that, but I just did not give him any good direction on what genre this book was, who the audience was, because I didn't know. But I mean, seriously though, think about it. If you're a book designer and you see my email coming in about this, I want a stalk of broccoli on the cover, what are you going to do? So I didn't make this easy on him, but that was a learning experience. Again, that's not on him, that's on me. The second designer, though, did a much better job, primarily because I understood the marketing a little bit better and how to position the book. So the covers now have Kendall on the front with a futuristic city in the background. The cover for Book 3, Delicious Seal, is probably one of my favorite book covers in my collection. So, yeah, I've had to learn how to market this book over the years, and I still have a lot of things to learn about how exactly I'm going to position this, because it's a challenge, but for me, it's worth it. Anyway, that's the story behind Moderation Online. So if you haven't stopped listening to this episode yet, which I suspect some people have already, check it out. You can find it at michaelloran.com/moderationonline. You won't be disappointed. Thanks for joining me this week. If you like this episode, you'll enjoy my backlist episodes at michaelloran.com/podcast. For your free starter library of my favorite novels, join my fan club by visiting michaelloran.com/fanclub. If you're a writer and you want to connect with me further, check out my YouTube channel, Author Level Up, for helpful writing advice at authorlevelup.com. Thanks for listening, and I'll be back next week.